Hi, in this video, I'll be walking you through the basics of the Challenge Success Student Experience Data Dashboard. If you're logging into the dashboard for the first time, you'll likely see a screen that looks something like this. Inside of Qualtrics, which is the platform we use to deploy and also share back your data, you'll have a number of dashboards that will kind of let you see the data. You probably will see two different dashboards in your account. You'll see your school's dashboard, which has the data from the most recent survey or any other surveys that you've taken, as well as an aggregate data set, which would be our comparison data over the past year. In this video, we're going to be focusing in on your data, although the dashboard for the aggregate data set works exactly the same way. So as we get into the dashboard, you'll note that there are a number of pages that go along with the dashboard. And you'll see we're on the introduction and summary page. All of the other pages where there are data kind of are listed here along the side. One little navigation trick is you can either pin or unpin this menu if you'd like to have it visible at all times. It's nice to have it available for navigation, but it gives you a little more real estate if you go ahead and unpin that. The introduction and summary page is just that. It's a high-level overview summary of your data, including kind of the high-level three-word data that students used, but it also includes some dashboard summaries, giving you a high-level summary of the responses your students had for the various sections of the survey. So in this section, you will see a high-level overview of the kind of various categories such as health and sleep, engagement, support and belonging, homework, extracurriculars, and so on. Inside of each of these, you'll note that there's sort of a dial that gives you some high-level data. You'll also note that there'll be some comparison data underneath. Inside the comparison data, you'll see how your school's responses in this area compares to our 2-year rolling average for that same category. We hope this data helps you see your data in the context of what other schools are seeing in this area, while also giving you a chance to focus in on your data in particular. So the introduction page gives you sort of the high-level overview, but from there, you'll probably want to drill in and look in at more of the details. So here I am looking at sort of stress, health, and sleep, and I'm seeing some data around students' academic worry, their reported health symptoms, confidence and coping, and so on. But if I click on the stress, health, and sleep page, you'll notice that I will drill in on a more particular page. With all of our pages, part of what you'll note is that we try to define any keywords used on that page so you understand what our definitions mean and also, where necessary, where that data comes from. So for example, here we have students' major sources of stress. We can see all of our data around that, as well as now here's that students reporting a stress-related health symptom that we saw on the front page. We see 81%. Here we get a little more detail as to what are some of those symptoms and where does some of that data, what are some of those symptoms look like? We also have things broken down so you can begin to see how those play out by grade level, by gender, by race and ethnicity. We try to pull those different variations to the front wherever possible. That said, you may want to do additional filtering on any of these pages. In particular, you may want to filter by various different student identity markers. You'll notice here at the top of the page, you'll always have the ability to filter that page by gender, by race and ethnicity, or also by grade level. And with that grade level, you can also do a slider. So you could do perhaps 9 and 10, and you could, let's say we wanted to look at students who identify as female in 9th and 10th grade. We can sort of see, here's what that data looks like there. Notice there's a little more health-related stress symptoms, and some of these shifted around a little. At any point, we can always reset to default to bring those filters back to where we initially had them. The other piece that I'll note is any of the items, in addition to being able to filter across these items at the top, any of the graphs that show up on a page that are clickable, that have this little index finger, we can also filter by that item. So for example, often we're curious about students' mental health issues. If I were to click on mental health issues, I'm actually going to filter this entire page by students who indicated that mental health issues were one of their major sources of stress. Notice now, obviously, that goes to 100% of students are indicating that as a major source of stress because that's what we're filtering by, but we can see how that impacts all of these other things. So if a student said mental health was a source of stress for them, 80% of them also said grades, tests, and quizzes, 73% overall workload, etc. So that gives you a chance to filter and do some additional insights into your data. Few other things, just so you can do that. This works on all the various pages, all the different, all the same filters work on all the different pages, and you can experiment with those. Two other pages that I just want you to be particularly aware of is one, if we have a multi-year trends page. So if your school has surveyed more than once, your data will show up on the multi-year trends page, and you can see just over time how have things trended. So for example, in our larger data set, we notice here that doing school peaked in the 21-22 school year, right in the middle of all of the COVID, things kind of peaked there, and we've actually been trending down nicely since then. Additionally, you'll notice that in many areas of the survey, there are some fairly strong correlations in the data. We have an entire page where we've pulled together key correlations in the data, and you can see how these different things play out. So for example, we see the really strong correlation between students' engagement and their belonging. Students who are more fully engaged, feeling higher senses of belonging, and vice versa. Those students with higher senses of belonging are more likely to be fully engaged. Again, this is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of correlations and data, but hopefully this brief overview gives you what you need to begin exploring your data and finding useful, actionable insights to continue to improve students' well-being, engagement, and belonging in your school. Please reach out if and as you have any other questions, and we are excited to see what you do with your data.